Hi everyone. I guess we're getting ready to get started this evening. First, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Heather Easterly of Alternative Communication Services for providing CART this evening. Thanks so much, Heather. And I would like to welcome Lauren Stork. Dr. Stork, this is your first time presenting in our webinar platform, so welcome. And I very much appreciate you presenting this evening. Lauren is the founder of Collaborative for Communication Access via Captioning, or CCAC as it has become known. And I'm excited to learn more about your organization, Lauren, and I'll let you go ahead and get started. Thanks again.
Hello, Nancy. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Well, let's talk captioning. And that's a pun intended, because captioning is my language, and we're going to talk about captioning tonight. And I want to thank Nancy and HLA because for inviting me, and also because for all the work they've done, all the good captioning advocacy they've done over many years. We have shared interests, and what I'm going to do is try to make this as interactive as possible tonight. We're going to show the short CCAC film in a couple of minutes. And then after that, if you would like to type in questions, I'd like to see them as we go along. I may not answer them all right away, but we'd like to see them. As I said, captioning is our language, and we think it's just as beautiful as any other language, and that includes sign language, which gets a lot of attention, as you all know, but captioning is a little harder to get press about, and perhaps you can let me know in questions or discussions whether you agree with that or not. The photo on the upper right of this slide is a conference where you can see small captioning along the bottom. That's live event captioning, otherwise known as CART, C-A-R-T. But I prefer to call it live event captioning now because people understand that much better than CART. CCAC advocacy involves many of us doing a number of what we call CAPS, C-A-P-S, standing for Communication, Captioning Advocacy projects that we do in teams and as a group, and also so many individuals in the CCAC do captioning advocacy regularly, sometimes every day. This is graduation time of the year, and that's President Obama speaking at my old college, Barnard in New York, and this CAP, getting people to ask for and include captioning during commencements, was one of the first big CCAC projects that we did several years ago, and it's really wonderful this year to see so many schools using live captioning at graduations. It's just growing and growing. What I like, just before we start the film, Nancy, I want to just emphasize that for us, captioning is a universal resource. As you know, there are advocacy groups for lots of other resources that some people need, such as hearing aids and looping systems. But captioning is what we call a universal resource. It does not help some, but it helps most. It doesn't help everyone, but it also helps millions of people without any hearing loss at all. And the CCAC is actually a captioning advocacy organization. It's not a deaf or hearing loss group such as HLLA, although most of us, a lot of us, do have a hearing loss or deafness, but a lot of members come in because they're providers or they're interested in language, education, technology, literacy, and so many other good things. After the film, I'll give you some history of the CCAC and tell you more about it, but these are some of our members around the world.
Hello, my name is Mehdi. I live in London, UK.
My name is Kalina. I come originally from St. Petersburg, Russia. And
I come from the French-speaking part of Belgium.
My name is David Wilkinson.
I'm 74 years old.
Hi, my name is Sam.
My name is Lauren. I live in the United States.
And I live in Byron Bay, in Australia. I want to live in a world where access to the arts and entertainment through captioning is taken for granted.
I need captioning every day. I need it to talk to my family.
captioning is really important to me because it means I can do things that hearing people take for granted.
Quite often, captioning is not available.
Because of the lack of captioning, I cannot go to college.
Captions are important to social inclusion, and that's something I crave.
I watch DVDs without captions, and I find sometimes watching comedies, I can miss some of the jokes.
I don't understand the teacher and doctor of my children.
Dentist? Can you imagine not understanding what a dentist is saying to you when they've got a mask on?
One thing that frustrates me is that I can find no captions, webinars, podcasts, radio shows.
Please put captioning on internet videos. I can't even monitor what my grandchildren watch.
Travel is an absolute nightmare.
Many times I don't understand what is happening on the public address system when I go to an airport or a train station. Once I nearly missed a flight because the gate changed and nobody told me about it.
Lack of captioning in everyday life makes me feel excluded and upset.
My wife is deaf. We used to really enjoy going to the movies, but we can't do that anymore because there are no captions in most movie theaters.
So it's so much ignorance on what access is all about. And at the moment, the quality is not there. It makes me feel excluded from my community.
It's not fair, and it's in breach of human rights.
It's about feeling equal. Don't leave me out.
I need to be included.
Don't leave me out.
Don't leave me out. Please don't leave me out.
Don't leave us out.
Don't leave me out. Don't leave me out.
Well, I'm sorry some of you had problems seeing the captions. I don't know why that happened. But you can watch it at your leisure anytime on the CCAC YouTube channel, or just go to YouTube yourself and type in "Don't Leave Me Out" or type in CCAC. You should find it easily. And if you don't, please email me. That film was made in 2012, 4 years ago, when the CCAC became an official nonprofit, and it's been seen by thousands of people already. And even if you've seen it before, like I have, I still love watching it. All those people are just wonderful advocates for captioning. Some of them, most of them, quite active and in different countries. So, this is a little bit of history then. Around 2009, I was hard of hearing for several years and becoming quite deafened. And I was a member of at least 4 or 5 hearing loss groups. And I saw that some captioning advocacy was being done by the majority of them, including HLA, NAD, ALDA, and others. But it was one of many sorts of good advocacy. So several of us decided that there was really a need for a focused new group. And actually it was just 7 or 8 of us that got together online with my invitation to start talking about it, because we knew then, and this is still the case, a lot of people don't have any idea what captioning actually is, even now. I mean, all the other hearing loss issues trouble me personally, also the stigma attached to it, and all the other good technologies that are coming along. But in the CCAC, we see so many gaps in captioning inclusion that is our sole focus. We see galaxies of gaps, we say. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I should be on the next slide. Oh, well, that's just one line there. It's another one of the logos. We say we're the place to be for captioning advocacy. So 7 or 8 of us got together back then in 2009, and during the first 12 months, the explosive interest in this group and the inquiries about it and the good feedback we got was so huge that we grew from 7 or 8 of us to 700 people during the first couple of years. And it was all online, of course, and very low budget. And we decided to, at that point in time, by 2012, we decided to become an official nonprofit. We're all volunteers, and we made that film with a good colleague in London, where many of us met together to put it together. That's why you can hear a few English accents in the film. We met at the premises of Stage Text there, which some of you may know. It does wonderful live event captioning for theater and for lectures and for museum tours now, and some of that is being done across the States now also. So I want you to go back to a little bit more about the CCAC itself and our own history, because, sorry, I'm going back to tell you about the history, but it's really the present and the future, and we hope a lot of you, if you're not already members with us, will join us also and collaborate with us for whatever kind of captioning advocacy you're interested in doing yourself. It is a very long name, the Collaborative for Communication Access via Captioning. It's a mouthful, and it's really too long, and we may, we shorten it as we're just currently finally working on a new website, and we're going to be having some exciting, fun changes on that website, but the name sort of symbolized our values. Collaboration with other groups and other individuals is a high value for us. Also, group work, or leading from behind, for the group to carry on the mission. Every voice is able to participate because we live online. We exist online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everyone has a stake in building the collaborative captioning advocacy. We designed it online to be kind of a hub where it would be easy to join and talk together anytime you want. We had been very active prior to this, just prior to the CCAC, in another organization called COAT, C-O-A-T, if some of you remember. That was the group with some input from us also that passed the 21st century update of the ADA, which is so important for us all. And that was a group of groups. But we decided to have the CCAC really be a collection of individuals. We're a bunch of people from all kinds of different backgrounds who like to learn together and advocate together, ask questions, and find answers. We do captioning advocacy. We advocate, educate, and raise awareness. That's what we do. We're not a hearing loss or deaf group, or we're not a captioning company. We also highlight the fact that captioning is really language. It's how we communicate, even when we have hearing aids or cochlear implants. A lot of us still use captioning in any groups larger than 3, and for the media, of course, all the videos online. Captioning is needed for full communication access. A lot of you are just joining as we proceed here, so I want to let you know that we'd like to see your questions and comments as we go along. I'll try to keep my eye on the chat box also, which is on the lower left of my screen, and I'd really be happy to hear your comments and questions as I go along. The mission of the CCAC is inclusion of quality captioning universally. We put that word quality in there, and I wish I had $1 for every time a provider or consumer has told me that a big thank you, that they love the fact that our mission statement says quality captioning. And since we did that early on, they have also included that in their own publicity and their own mission statements. Quality, of course, is all about standards, and standards are that slippery thing that we all make jokes about and that we're all concerned about legislation for, and that is finally making some progress through new laws and through new guidelines from the FCC and the DOJ. But mainly, we advocate, we ask for it. We're not located in the Washington, D.C. area like HLIA is and some other very good groups. We don't have the funding or staff to do that, but we can assure you we're in touch with government regularly to push forward captioning inclusion. For one example, the air travel access meetings that are happening now, we had a very good discussion with the consultant in charge of that just at the end of last year. Okay, so I'm going to move Are there any questions so far? No? Okay. I'm going to move along. Well, if you think of one, just type it in now, please. I'm going to just give you a selected few of the projects that we work on together. And at the top of the list, of course, is media access. For example, I created this slide actually just before. Very good news that web access is moving forward right now. Finally, that captioning is basically now required on all videos online, and the guidelines for this are still evolving, but we are definitely getting there. And this is extremely exciting. Captioning on videos is something that sign language users as well as hard of hearing people come together for. So media access is such an important thing. Having said that, there's still a lot of advocacy that needs to be done. For example, if you use Facebook every day like I do, mainly to find out what my adult children are doing, Facebook shows a lot of videos now. They show clips of things, short videos that are very entertaining, and a lot of them have no captioning at all. So one part of advocacy for the media is going to be all the social media videos of all different lengths that we need captioning for. It feels terrible not being able to participate there. Captioning for school children is the question. And do you see Skype and other face-to-face services using captioning in the future? Okay, well, I'll answer one and postpone the other one. We work with we include families. We have families as members, and we'd love to have more families as members. You have to be 18 or over to get best participation of the CCAC, but we have had some younger teen members. And school children, as they're learning to read, I mean, that is a very important part of our advocacy, reading for literacy. And that we have a resource on our website called Education, and maybe I can point you to that later. A quick answer to the Skype question. I think Skype, it'll be a while before Skype and Google Chat has any kind of quality captioning. They may have automatic machine captioning now, but you know how terrible that is for most of the time. But we really need a professional person like Heather, who's my cart provider today. If you're reading that also, I think Skype and Google and other live communication systems will have to figure out how to offer us some low-cost quality captioning, hopefully. It all depends on how active more of us, including you, can be in asking for this. We'd love to have that question brought into the CCAC forum. Okay, the Theater Development Foundation out of New York has its own website, and I'll have to refer you to that. They're easy to Google and find out all kinds of information about how they support live theater captioning. Which brings me to number 2 on this slide, which is live event captioning. education and inclusion. Live event captioning, what some people call CART, is related to that question. It's theater, it's doctor's appointments, it's conferences, it's schools, it's church, it's so many good things. And what we have done that I'm very happy about is we have developed a small CCA grant. It's only $300 to eligible organizations, but information about it is described on our website, and I hope many of you will look at that. We don't have enough applications for our grant. It has been given out maybe 5 times. We just started the program last year thanks to donations from our members. So please look into that on our website. Another project we are very active in is called Captions Capture the Votes. There's a special page for that on our website, and what I'd like to ask all of you to do this very important election year is to contact a candidate wherever you live, a local candidate for mayor or a state candidate that you support, or the national candidates, the candidates for Senate, House, Governor, and of course the presidency. This is a very important election, no matter where you stand. Please contact a candidate and ask them to have a live event with live captioning. This is not an easy project. We started it during election year 2 years ago, and we had some success. This year, we have had only one candidate across the whole country that we're aware of have a live event with captioning so far. So I would love to hear about some of you doing that with us after you read about it on our website. You can see the address for the website at the bottom of the slide, or just type in ccacaptioning.org and you'll get to the website. And then you can see the tabs along the top. And then number 5 here is just as an example that we contact, every day we contact the media, the producers of videos online, and we provide letters of support for members who want captioning in their church. We try to help people ask for captioning when they need it at work, and so many other examples, too many to go into in this short time. But please email us anytime if you have questions about these projects or any of our other projects. I'll just show you that we have a flyer that we like to use, which you can't really read it so well on the slide, but at the top below the name of our organization, it says 1 in 5 people globally have a hearing loss. And do you realize how many people that is? I mean, it is mega millions of people. And there are millions of people across the United States who still don't have the captioning that they need. And you can imagine how many millions of people in other countries don't have the captioning they need. They may not have any captioning at all yet. So I don't remember if it was, maybe there's another question that might come up at this point, and if not, I don't remember if it was Nancy's suggestion or my own idea to include this, but it's very important. Of course, the benefits or the advantages, I say the necessity of having captioning, not just for us with hearing loss, but for the world. Caption the world. And I'm going to just go through these benefits quickly, and I think they're listed on our website, of course. One is learning to read. Notice I'm not starting with captioning for the deaf and hard of hearing because that's what everybody else starts with. And I do think it's important to emphasize that captioning is a universal advantage. It's a universal resource for a lot of good things. Learning to read. If you have the captioning on, the kids learn to read more quickly. And teachers across the country are getting the point. Captioning is good for literacy. This is related to number 2, which is different. It's learning a new language. I used to be fluent in 3 languages, and with my hearing loss, which started about 15 years ago, I've lost a lot of my fluency, of course. By the way, I have a cochlear implant now also, but I still need captioning. But if I'm traveling in a different country, I have to turn on the subtitles or on television, and if they're not there, you can be sure I advocate. I send a message to anyone I can find. I send them an email saying how important it is. And the CCAC has members in a lot of these countries, also in the Netherlands, in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, in Germany, in Italy, in Greece, in Ireland, in England, and in Asia also. Learning a new language is important for global communications. That's related to translations. When you have good quality captionings, you can translate it into any other language, of course, and that's so important for global communications. When you have captioning, you have an immediate transcript. You don't need a note taker in the classroom or at a lecture or at a conference. Some more benefits that a lot of people know, and you'll watch even without hearing loss, if you're watching a British comedy on television, or if you're in a room with poor acoustics, or if people are mumbling, captions help everybody. Then there are these other conditions that millions of people live with and manage very well, and they also use captioning. They like it when captioning is there. For example, along the autism spectrum, a lot of people benefit from captionings. I'm just looking at a question. The question says, where can I find the research to support the reading? And if you look on the CCA website, we have citations of some of the research. And if you can't find it easily, please just email me anytime, and I'll point you to it. Our website is a very busy website, and it's not so easy to find everything you need very quickly, but we're working on that also. I was talking about other conditions that use captioning. Tinnitus, by the way, a lot of people have tinnitus and no hearing loss, and they like captioning. People with auditory perceptual differences, and people with other disabilities. The 7th benefit I've listed here, of course, is to reach larger markets and larger audiences. If you put a video online and it has no captioning, you are excluding those 1 in 5 people, millions of people that you could be selling your product or a video to. That's related to number 8, which is called SEO, Search Engine Optimization. If you don't have captions on anything you put online, Google search or any other search engine that people use to find you and that you want them to use, They won't find it as easily because all the words in the caption helps maximize the search. Learning anything at any age, I say. And I think it's pretty obvious to those of us who use captioning a lot that seeing it visually helps us remember it. And there is some research on that too. More research needs to be done. Someone says the captioning they have trouble understanding also. And I think you mean that's another benefit. I think if you mean this, that's great that you mentioned that. Thank you. You know, when we're at a live event and the speaker is not using the microphone, or the speaker is mumbling, or there's noise in the background, or the speaker has an accent, or the speaker has a big mustache, so many people, including the captioner, may not hear what the speaker is saying, may not understand the whole thing. And when the captioner actually says, "Will you repeat that, please?" that's a wonderful benefit for us. I'm not sure that's what the question meant, but that's always an advantage. Okay. So then the next thing I was going to talk about tonight is some of the advantages and disadvantages of an all-volunteer organization like we are. We are all volunteers. There is no paid staff. There's no rent to pay. There's a limited budget, but fortunately we have some funding and several small contributions. I think a lot of you, some of you with me tonight, some of you I may know are also leaders in other volunteer groups. So I'm just going to go through these thoughts I have that our organization faces, and maybe you have some additional input for us here. In a volunteer group, there's always volunteer burnout, and that includes the leader and the main participants. There's a huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. I get emails every day, and there's no secretary to help me. There's no team to answer them all. It's really something I enjoy doing, and I'm happy to do, but it's a lot of work some days. And I think even in organizations, in the hearing loss groups and deaf groups that have paid staff, they depend on volunteers enormously. And so all of you listening to this, I hope you know how important you are and how important it is to invite new people into the group, whatever it is, all the time, because there is always burnout. People get busy. The second limitation, I would say, is the lack of social cues that we have with online communications, at least in the CCAC. But this holds true for emails and all chats and all group communications online. There are no social cues. And that means there's no facial expression, there's no tone of voice, there's no video going on most of the time, and that can lead to a lot of misunderstanding. It used to be called flaming online, if some of you remember the old days. People don't say that very much anymore because more and more people understand that, you know, if you don't understand something in a text, the best thing to do is ask a question, like, did you mean that? Or, were you saying this? Do I understand you? Instead of something like, how can you say that? You know, the best thing to do is to ask for clarification and ask questions. I'm glad the person who is having trouble seeing the live captioning tonight is back with us. Welcome back. So the third struggle about an all-volunteer organization is that we all have busy lives. You know, we don't have, hearing loss takes a lot of extra energy every day for everybody. And on top of that, there are other health issues that come along, family issues, work issues, all kinds of other things that need our attention. And if a volunteer, you know, explains that they have to drop out or take some time off, that's always understood, of course. And then the other limitation that I put on this slide, which seems important to me, is that we have not had time to do evaluations in an informal way of all our activities, and there just isn't time or resources for it, but it's something that we're aiming to get to. Now, I want to go over a little longer list, which I hope you all agree are some of the advantages and joys of being a volunteer and working in a volunteer organization like the CCAC. It's really a labor of love for most of us, for myself and my active members. You know, even if you start out with a small interest in captioning advocacy, as you get involved and participate in our forum online, you hear others talking about what they're doing, and people exchange ideas, and you develop really a passion for captioning advocacy. And I hope some of you who haven't done this with us yet come along and join us. We do have a very active members forum online. We've been using a Google group, and you know, we get very good feedback about it. Being a volunteer is knowing, for captioning advocacy, is knowing that you're going to have an impact on many lives, if not directly, at least indirectly. The second advantage for us is our very low expenses. So that if you decide to make a contribution to the CCAC, it's easy to do from our website. CCAC gives a very loud bang for your buck, we say. You know, and for a nonprofit, that's very important. We are all volunteers. We're not paying for anything else. A third advantage, I think, for us is the transparency of our group work. It takes a certain amount of time, but as people participate and learn from each other, there's a certain group cohesion that develops in the CCA forum online, and it's really wonderful to see. We say each voice counts, and we have had teams working together in separate chat boxes and things like that, and we'd like to do more of that. Another thing in captioning advocacy is we're not all hard of hearing. You know, we have a great mixture of people from a great number of different backgrounds, highly educated, less highly educated, active in other groups or not active in other groups, of all different ages, in many different countries, and it's such a rich mixture of people, and they can all talk to each other very easily anytime online in our forum. Our forum is our virtual meeting place because the CCAC itself has not had its own conference yet. More on that at the end of my talk. You know, it's really time for questions, and I'm looking forward to seeing a few more as I go through a few more slides also. Come on, guys. You can ask some more things, please, about captioning, anything you want, or about the CCAC. The next advantage on this slide is just that welcoming advocates is very easy. You can join very easily. There is a small fee for joining the CCAC, but it is waived immediately for any new member just by a simple question. If it's a hardship for any consumer, for any user of captioning, just let us know on the membership form. It's all done online, and the fee will be waived. And the final thing on this slide is just that we make so many new connections, and sometimes the most unexpected great ideas develop for a captioning advocacy project. Sometimes the unexpected ideas develop even better than the expected ones. So I see a question coming in.
Lauren.
I'm going to wait for this question before I move to the slide.
There's a question from Sandy. She says, I've requested CART before and it wasn't provided. Who pays for it? For example, I've started a new HLAA chapter and we needed a public library. I asked the library to pay for CART. The library tells me that I need to pay for it. The library tells me that we are borrowing their space for free. We haven't established enough funds to pay for CART. Who pays for CART? It's very confusing to me, for other events as well.
Okay, that's a very good question. And I'm going to ask Nancy to come in as well. Let me see if I can start an answer for that. You know, if you're holding a chapter meeting, you do need to figure out what your budget is. If the library is offering space for you, I mean, that's a certain gift for you right there. It's not a library event, however. It's an HLAA chapter event. So I would say there are a number of ways of finding solutions. If it were a library event, I would say to pressure the library, because libraries get federal funds for the most part. Not all libraries, but as far as I know, if it's a public library, they have federal funds. So if it were a library event, and I have done this myself, and someone needs captioning, CART, rather than captioning, to participate with full communication access, then they are responsible for paying for it. Now, to go back to your situation, the CCA always says that providers, they're very valuable. It's a very valuable profession, and they deserve to get fair pay. I'm well aware that around the country, some chapter meetings have providers who volunteer their services if it's not too onerous. If it's a meeting once a month, for not more than 2 hours, and especially perhaps if they can do it remotely. So you may think about how to contact people in your area or anywhere across the country for a provider who would offer to do it for you at a very low fee, lower than usual. Many of them do for hearing loss groups. On top of that, I think it's really important to try to raise money, to try to have people contribute something or have a bake sale and think of ways that the chapter can raise some funding. It's really not that expensive to have a professional provider offer live event captioning for 1 hour or 2 hours. And if they're going to be doing it for you, let's say for 12 months, for 12 meetings, maybe you can negotiate a reasonable cost. Does that help? Or does Nancy want to add something to that for an HLA chapter?
I think that's a good answer, and we do get that question frequently from our chapters. I know that some have a good relationship with a CART provider that will donate their time, and others do find creative ways to raise funds so that they can pay for a CART provider for their monthly meetings. I think it varies across the country from chapter to chapter. It's probably a good topic, though, to bring up and maybe talk about at the convention coming up.
Okay, well, I think that was a great question also, and I think the answer I gave applies to anybody else who's with us or listening to this, who I want to encourage you not to be shy to ask for CART, find a provider, and discuss the cost concerns you have with the provider. And if the provider is not friendly, find another provider. Now, by friendly, I mean they want to help you, and they want to help you advocate. They also want to earn a living. So in any situation, whether it's a chapter meeting or your garden club or any community event that you want to go to, please, if you need live event captioning, if you need CART, start asking for it. And if you want the CC to help you, that's exactly one of the things we do all the time. We help people ask for it. That's what advocacy is about. Sometimes it's easy, and sometimes it takes a very long time, but don't hesitate to ask for it. There are two other things I want to mention tonight before our time runs out. One is this very important survey. I hope you've all done this survey already, and if you haven't done it, you can see the link on this slide. The deadline for the survey was just extended for a few more days in May, and I was very honored to be asked by the president of FHOH, that's Ruth Warwick in Canada, to help her write the survey. And when you open it and look at that link, I hope you think it's a good survey. It's not perfect, nothing is, but the survey is in English text and also in sign language, in International Sign Language, because this survey is a joint project of the IFHOH and the World Federation for the Deaf. Now, those videos are for sign language on the survey. They're not captioned. All the questions are in text. You just have to scroll down and go through the pages to see all the questions and answer them. Please answer as many as you can. This is so important because so much of the world doesn't know what we mean by CART. They don't have any live captioning yet, and they need training programs and they need providers. So I hope some of you will take a note of that survey. I've been trying to distribute the link all over Facebook also, and if you lose it tonight, just email me, please. And the last thing I want to take, hopefully there's time for one or two more questions. The best news from the CCAC this year is there will be a first happening on August 1st and 2nd, a Caption Studies Conference. I was literally jumping for joy, and I'm for jumping as I talk about it right now. Please go to that link and read about it and sign up for it. It is free, it's captioned, And it's a conference with a whole bunch of wonderful presentations, a panel, or more than one panel, with some pre-recorded interviews, and it's all captioned. And some of my panel also uses sign language, so they will have sign language there also. But what happened was the CCAC doesn't have funds to do this ourselves, although we've been thinking about it since the beginning. Well, last year, there's a professor at Western Oregon University, Gregory Zobel, joined the CCAC, and it was on his mind to have a caption studies conference because not because of hearing loss primarily, but because it's so important for what they call tech ed or e-learning these days. You all know how important it is for education to have online courses these days. And the way he defines the conference goals for us all, I think, are just so wonderful. It's going to be a conference where captioning is the primary interest. It's not a secondary focus. Sometimes we feel like everybody talks about sign language, and we really need an equal amount of time for use for captioning. The conference is going to be a place to connect with others and for all of us to promote captioning in our diverse fields and to discuss and explore more effective legislation. Now, this conference is free and online, and we're hoping that many of you will come and participate. My panel is on the first day, August 1st, and what is hopefully being planned is a larger conference in August of next year, August of 2017. And for me personally, this is the culmination of CCAC group work up to this point, where people inspire other people and share ideas. I wish there were more than the time. The conference is for 4 or 5 hours each day, August 1st and August 2nd. Here's one more question. For getting the YouTube and other films to be captioned by computers, but yes, we're happy. We will help you if you send us an email. If you're teaching without quality captioning on YouTube, you must find ways to edit and correct that, or get the producer of the video to correct it. And actually the conference will have a special presentation for educators doing that, and how you go about in your school system finding the right resources to do that. That's very important. You shouldn't have to do that by yourself. That's a quick, inadequate, short answer, but if you have a YouTube video, before you get a team in your school together to figure out who's going to do this and how it's going to be paid for, don't hesitate to email the CCAC, please. That's our email address on the bottom line of this slide. We can never have enough of you, from teachers, students, consumers, any of you. We love to talk. We can make changes if we all work on this together. Thank you again for having me here tonight. We went through things pretty quickly, but I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Nancy.
Lauren, I have to say I've seen CCAC so many times recently online on Facebook, and it was a pleasure to learn more about what it is you do. And already I'm thinking of a lot of ways that we can work together, because this is a very important issue. By the way, at Convention 2016, coming up next month, we will offer captioning in all of our sessions, of course. and we will also have the ability to have captions in different languages, since we have people coming from more than 15 countries right now. So we're excited about that. Thank you again very much, Lauren, for presenting tonight. And thank you very much, Heather, for providing excellent CART tonight. We really appreciate it. The session has been recorded, and we will post it on our website just as soon as we can. And hope to see everybody next month when we talk more about the convention and all the technology we'll be using. Thanks again. Good night.
Thanks. Good night.